Most women think that they're struggling with weight loss, but what they're actually struggling with is identity, not hormones, not cravings, not being busy. It's that quiet belief under everything. I don't trust myself to change and keep it. Until you shift that, nothing's going to stick. But once you shift it, everything gets easy. Change isn't hard because you're weak. It's hard because it threatens the identity that you've lived in for years. Your brain is wired for familiar, not better. So even when better is right in front of you, your mind tries to pull you back to that familiar version of yourself. Things like, I've tried before. This is too much. Life is too busy right now. What if I fail again? But here's the truth that no one tells you. The identity that you're protecting is the very thing that's keeping you stuck. Every next level transformation requires an identity death before the rebirth. And I truly say this with love. Every excuse feels valid when you're still living in your old identity. But excuses and results, they can't coexist. You will always find a reason not to start until you decide that the cost of staying the same is more painful than the cost of changing. So here's the shift. You're not failing because you're broken. You're failing because you haven't yet become the woman who does the thing that creates the result. Really think about that. You're not failing because you're broken. You're failing because you haven't yet become the woman who does the things that create the result. VIP is not about forcing habits. It's about becoming the woman who naturally lives them. Every woman thinks she needs more motivation. What she really needs is a system that upgrades her identity. And that's what makes VIP different. Inside VIP, women don't just lose weight. They step into a different mindset, a different level of self-trust, a different daily rhythm, and a different relationship with their body, a different belief about who they are. We don't chase results. Everyone else does. We build the identity that produces them. That's why our women actually maintain their results, even years later. Because once your identity shifts, there is no going back. And that might sting, but it's going to set you free. You're not afraid that change will be hard. You're afraid that change will work. Because if it works, you can no longer hide behind that old story that you've been telling yourself. You can't say, I'm just the girl who struggles. I will never follow through. And everyone else gets results but me. Those are just stories. When you change, when you really change, you have to rise to the level that God created you for. You have to stop shrinking to make others comfortable, and you have to stop dimming your light. And that is terrifying for women who have lived in survival mode for years. But hear me, your calling is louder than your comfort zone. And you wouldn't feel pulled to this if you weren't meant for more. God created us to thrive, not just survive. So here's your identity upgrade. I am a woman who honors her commitments. I am a woman who doesn't negotiate with her limitations. I am a woman who finishes. And I am a woman whose actions match her vision. You become her the moment you decide to. Not after you lose the weight. Not after life slows down, not after the holidays, not on Monday, but now. Because identity isn't changed by results. Identity is what creates results. So if this hits you in your gut, if your heart is whispering, this is me. If you're tired of living in the gap between who you are and who you know you're meant to be, then comment identity below. And I will give you the tools to start your identity shift immediately so you can finally create results that last. Because you were not meant down for a watered down life. You are not meant to repeat the same year over and over. And you are absolutely not meant to struggle alone. This is your moment. And I'd be honored to walk you through it.